Get it going. Good morning, Denise. Good morning to you. Good morning, Denise. Good morning to you.
I love you, Tracy.
I love you too.
I'd
It's a
sing to
beautiful
you, but you
day.
don't want me singing.
Uh, uh,
It
it's
is. It's
actually
beautiful
overcast up
outside.
here. It was rainy last night, and we're supposed to get like a couple of inches of rain, which is going to be crazy because our ground's not completely thawed yet. So, since we've had snow and everything else, but whatever.
Oh, I know. Our ground was soaked the other day when we had
Yeah.
all that rain. I mean, it was soaked. Even a couple of days, 2 or 3, couple of days later,
Mm-hmm.
Ron was trying to find the water line out there so he can hook his water
Yeah.
up. But it is, yeah, it was kind of, it was crazy. Dug a hole and it just filled with water.
Oh
I
my
said, well,
goodness.
y'all not gonna be able to do this till the
Yeah,
ground soaks in. So it took a little while.
for sure.
Chris, good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Chris. Oh, good morning to you. Good morning, Chris. Oh, good morning to you. Trying to find the chat.
Morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Michelle. Good morning to you. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning to you. Keep telling me till I get my chat up here.
Okay. Well, if somebody comes in, I'll let you know.
Alrighty.
At least I can do that.
It is supposed to be decent though, at least in the 50s, I guess today, which is better than it's been before when it was so cold up here. We've been way below normal. It's supposed to be in the 60s this time of year. It's
Yeah.
been miserable.
Love you too, Michelle. Love you,
Aw,
sweetheart. We got some good people here.
yes we do.
Man.
Love you all. I'm so thankful you're here and you found us.
Amen. What's one of those things I think that go from Darlene's not on, check you. If you're not on, check Sandy. Sandy's not
Yeah.
on, check Liz.
Oh, Michelle said they got bad storms coming tonight. I think that's when they said ours are coming later today, which is good because I do have to go out this afternoon. Um, Kind of a crazy thing with all of the current quarantine and stuff. They're having a visitation while my best friend's husband, for him, his son is up from South Carolina and to take care of some things with, his dad's stuff. And so they are allowing him to have a visitation, but they can't have more than 10 people in the funeral home at any one time. So it's going to be a wait in the parking lot in your car until it's your turn, and then your family can go in. So my aunt and my mom and my youngest son are going to all come, and we're going to go together so that that's one, that's less people in groups, if they all went individually, which normally we would probably ride some of us together, but my son would probably just show up when he could. But we're
Yeah.
waiting for him to get here and then we'll go together so that that will be taken care of. But it's just sad. It's sad that they, everything has to be postponed and delayed and
Oh, yeah. Some things you just can't postpone and delay
yeah,
for
exactly. Well,
very
and
long.
I talked to his son, and I thought that, we didn't know obviously what happened, and knew that what he hadn't been there a long time before he was found because people keep an eye on him. He was very active socially. He would call people. I talked to him on the phone probably a week and a
Yeah.
half before he passed. Um, And my son talked to him a few days before he passed. So it's like he was very social. So people saw him and knew he was okay. And then when they didn't, they went and checked on him and he wasn't okay. So they think it was very quick and like heart attack or something of that lines, which at least thank goodness he didn't suffer and wasn't laying there miserable without able to get help, you know?
Amen. Yeah, I'm like, Lord, just take my dad when he goes to sleep and
Yeah,
don't,
exactly.
I don't want him suffering. My dad's just been too active all his life. I don't want him to get
Exactly.
where he just can't do anything.
Exactly. That's what I mean. I always pray that good morning, Darlene. Good morning to you. Good morning, Darlene. Good morning to you. We love you, Darlene.
Love you bunches, darling. Oh, very much. So, so much.
Missing you.
A lot.
Good
Hey,
morning to
Kevin.
Kevin. Good morning to you. Good morning to Kevin. Good morning to you.
Love you too, Kevin.
Yeah. Oh, it's still chilly though. Gosh darn, it's like this morning and I went out, of course I go outside to smoke, so it's like
Yeah.
it's chilly out there this morning, but at least it's gonna be warmer later today instead of staying. There was a couple of days that we were like stuck in the 30s all day, and it's like, come on, it's April. Let's get on with
Oh,
some
I know.
spring.
I'm like, April showers, no April snow does not bring May
Yeah,
flowers.
April snow is no good.
Exactly.
No good.
So true.
And especially now, I mean, my goodness, in 2 days, April's going to be over. It'll be May. And then, like technically, which I'm sure it's not going to happen this year, the pools, we have a pool in both sides. There's a busier, it's not a busy road because we're at the end of it, but a busier, there's actually a highway exit right by our trailer park. There's one part that's on the south side of the road and one part that's on the north side of the road. The one that's on the south side of the road is a older community, and then they built this one after. And
Yeah.
there's a pool on both sides, so you can use either pool. We stick to our side because that's where the old people go. The teenagers go to the other one because it's a bigger pool and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but they're supposed to open the pools Memorial Day weekend. But my goodness, it hasn't even been warm enough. That's crazy. I mean, there's no point with the social distancing and stuff. Depending on how that goes, that may not happen for a while. But I just hope that sometime before the summer's over, it will open because the kids just enjoy it so much. My grandbabies love going to the pool. They love,
Oh,
love, love
yeah.
it.
Because Daddy's pool is right, right across the field there. So
Mm-hmm.
kids enjoy it. Some of
Exactly.
the parents and the kids that we know come over and swim in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but they love it. And it's like it's a big pool. It's not little.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It goes from 4 feet to 8 feet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a big one.
Ours doesn't go. Ours go. It has like a 3 foot end, and I want to say 6 foot maybe is the deepest that the one on our side goes. Good
Yeah.
morning, Dwayne. Good morning to you. Good morning, Dwayne. Good morning to you. Good morning,
Hey,
Dwayne.
Dwayne.
Good morning to Sonia. Good morning to you. Good morning to Sonia. Good morning to you.
Oh, they both here. Trouble, trouble. I love you,
Mm-hmm.
Sonia. Sonia, how's the shoulder, dear?
Yeah. How's your shoulder doing, Sonia? Hoping you're in. Oh, yeah. Trouble, trouble, double trouble. Especially when you guys come in together. It's like almost like you guys planned that.
Yeah, them two
Oh,
together are just kind of, uh, yeah,
it's
but
sore
it's
today.
fun.
Oh.
It's all in fun.
Yeah, I bet that's hard because physical therapy, when they do the massage and help the muscles and stuff get moving, that helps, makes a big difference. Doing it online is not the same at all as having a physical therapist actually loosen it up.
So
That,
true.
yeah, that could not be the same at all. That's where the definitely online is not the same at all. Aw, Darlene. Yucky hair and Big Blue. We love Big Blue. I actually got up and got dressed so that I was ready to go so I could come on for a while and then get ready to go. My mom and my aunt will be coming up here to wait for Jimmy to get a break in his work long enough to go to the funeral home. Here comes Liz Ann. Good morning, Liz Ann. Good morning to you. Good morning, Liz Ann. Good morning to you.
Thank you, Tracy. Good
Thank
morning,
you.
Tracy. Good morning to you. Good morning, Tracy. Good morning to you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, Sonia, I tried to, since it's like
Good
really
morning, Denise.
long and growing, I tried to do something with it so that it would look not my normal, just pulled back in a couple of barrettes off my face to go out into the world today.
I
I
tried
know
that
it's
once.
fixing to
I tried that
say
once,
Liz
Tracy.
Ann
Yeah,
brushes her teeth one at a time. It sure is taking a long time.
It just took a little while. I did that, and this is what happened.
yep,
So,
yep.
thank you, Denise.
Well, I was
I
actually
love you.
Love you.
thinking prior to the quarantine about letting my hair grow out at least a little bit. And then Ryan went and got his hair cut right before they shut down the salons. And I was like, no, I'll wait a little while. And then if it starts to drive me crazy, then I'll just go get it cut. Well, then of course, now I have no option.
Yeah,
And
got that problem here too.
yeah, so it's like, well, I guess I will be growing it out a bit and we'll go from there see what things are like when they open salons back up. I have no idea when they're going to open that back up in
Yeah,
Michigan.
that's that's hard to say because of the really close proximity that you are going to be with someone. Of course, the
Mhm.
masks help, but still,
Right.
it's
And I
it,
don't plan on being the first one out when they do open stuff back up.
right, right.
You
Well,
know,
not with your circumstances anyway.
exactly. I feel like when they start opening some things back up, it would be wise for any of us with a compromised immune system
Hmm.
and whatnot to hold back that couple of weeks and see if things start to spike upward again or if it stays
Right.
stable before we go out and get in the middle of all that stuff.
Yeah, good idea.
As much as I would love to
Mm.
just get out of the house, the only thing I would consider is I would go to church
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you don't have to have physical contact if you choose not to at church.
Right, right.
And I can, I would go to church because I have been missing as much as watching on the internet is better than nothing. It's not the same as going to church.
Right, right. Agreed. Agreed. Good morning, everyone in the chat. I didn't mean to ignore anybody, especially Dwayne over there.
Yeah, Dwayne over there. The angel Dwayne.
Yeah, right. Okay,
Darlene, yeah.
we'll pretend that. Give him the benefit of the
Aw.
doubt for the start of the day, huh?
That's exactly it, Sonia. She's got that bum shoulder. She had her daughter, her 15-year-old daughter, braid her hair.
Oh my goodness.
Because, yeah, that was the one thing I remember when I had shoulder surgery years ago. was, and I did have longer hair then, was even to get my husband to brush it and put it in a ponytail was not
Not successful.
not
Didn't
what
work.
I wanted to look like for sure. But
yeah.
you can't complain. No point in biting the hand that's helping you for sure.
Exactly.
So just be like,
Because then you're
it's
just
wonderful.
stranded.
Yeah, it's fine. Thank you so much for helping me, honey. I appreciate it.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Good to see
I would have
Have
to
to
everybody.
have
take me
Alvin
to
do that before.
one of the salons, just one of the cheapy haircut places, and have them wash my hair and dry it and put it back up after, like, once a week. So I got a good scrub once a week, you know?
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah,
that
that's
was,
pretty rough to
yeah.
not be able to wash your hair and all that kind of stuff yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you can only
I'm gonna
handle
go ahead
throwing
and
your
hop
head over the
out.
kitchen sink so much.
Exactly. Exactly. And my husband, I love him with all of my heart. He is my soulmate, but he's kind of a bull in a china shop with a lot of stuff like that. He would literally drown me in the sink.
I'm sorry, it's not funny, but the way you're
It's
saying
funny
it.
because he tried and he was willing to try whatever he could, but man, he's not gentle. And it's not that he doesn't try to be gentle.
It's just his natural. Whoa, Denise, where'd you go?
Denise's
She pops
internet
in and
popped
out.
her out, I bet.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that he's
Come back.
he's just not female. He doesn't have the same touch.
Right, exactly. And or the what do you call it? The dexterity or
That's
the
it.
lighter
He does not have
touch.
great dexterity in his hands. So he really doesn't. But Darlene said Casey did hers after surgery. He even
Yeah.
dyed it for her. Yeah, you're lucky because I had all.
That would have been asking way too much, probably.
Mhm.
Well, some people, can handle that kind of thing, and some people can't. It depends
Yeah.
on a lot of things. And he probably never had any sisters or anything like that.
He had sisters, but he was the baby. So
Oh,
they did everything for him. He
I
didn't
see.
do, he
So
was very spoiled. But
he didn't have to be careful
mhm.
and cautious and you're getting stuff in my eye.
Yeah, he didn't have that, take care of your little sister thing. Oh, her internet's still a little iffy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She was kind of just waiting for you to come in, but that's not how she intended to leave, to just
To
disappear.
just fall out.
Yeah. But yeah, that he was very spoiled. He was the youngest of 6. His dad passed away when his mom was pregnant with him.
Oh
So he
my.
was very protected and taken care of by his older siblings. And
Yeah. Was he the only boy?
no, there were actually, the oldest in his family was a boy, and then 2 other older brothers and him, and then there were 3 sisters.
Mm-hmm.
But
Cool.
yeah, he did the best that he had the ability to do.
Yeah.
His heart was in the right place. It just was not very gentle. There's still times when there are things that I need him to help me with, and it's like, honey, easy, remember.
Yeah, ease up. Light-handed. Well, I hope you'll be back, Darlene.
Aw.
uh
Michelle, I'm sorry you didn't have a very good night's sleep. Liz didn't either.
Yeah, no. I laid there resting with my eyes closed, but there were no Z's.
I actually, for a change, I really got a decent night's sleep last night. I'm very happy.
Yay!
Yeah.
All right.
I went to bed at like 8:30, and I did not even hear Ryan get up this morning. and I didn't wake up till about 20 after 4. So
Wow.
he was already gone when I woke up, which
Wow.
was
Well, you
surprising.
had
Yeah,
a good rest then.
I got a decent night's sleep. I think it just was my shot is finally, I got the flush and things are kicking in and it's working a little
It's
bit.
doing its level out thing.
Yep. Yep.
Good deal.
And I get my next one a week from today.
Oh,
So
good.
when they do that 1-2 punch like that, then I'm usually good for a little bit. So hopefully
Good.
we'll be where we need to be for a little bit. At
Yeah.
least till we get over the worst part of all this other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully your governor will pull back on some of these restrictions.
Yeah. She did say she plans to ease up on some of the things
Uh-huh.
May 1st. There, she was going to have some news conferences this week. I expect she's because we are one of the higher states with infection rate and deaths,
Uh-huh.
that she's very, and thankfully so, very
Overly
cautious
cautious,
and
maybe.
concerned. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think she did open up. She had not allowed like the plant nurseries and stuff to open up at all. They've been allowed to open up.
That's good because people need to, if you can't leave your house or your yard, I mean, people need to be able to
At least putts.
do something to brighten, to bring the spring in. I mean, gee whiz,
Yeah. So the plant
there's
nurseries
no
are
cutting your
open.
grass,
Yeah. And I
the
think
birds.
that her plan will be to open some of the manufacturing and stuff where they can require masks and some personal protection to help keep the infection rates lower.
And that's what all of them are shooting for, I think, is to within the suggested restrictions, the mandates, not restrictions, suggested mandates, to be, it's a start, but it's not everybody out the gate,
Right. Right. That's exactly it. I mean, if they put like some of the, just go for a ride. I'm with Denise. Just go for a ride.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they open up some of the manufacturing and they're going to open up, and they did open up some of the nursery stores and stuff like that so that you can get plants and mulch. We need to get mulch for the year, stuff like that. And then gradually open up some of the other businesses. I think it will be a smarter move for sure.
Well, they're all trying to be cautious and the looking out for the health of the people. Sometimes it seems extreme, and I don't know, maybe it is, but it's for a good purpose, I guess, and so that's the deal. I think a lot of the concern is, people have been tied up for 43 days now. I mean, and we're not used to that situation. I mean, if you live in a high, like a climate where you get a lot of snow, like during the winter, you might be snowed in, but probably not for 42 days. I don't know.
Never.
You might be snowed in for a couple of weeks or have limited access for
not even that usually. Like seriously, when you live like up here where we do, they have such great and abundant snow equipment that once the snow falls, we may be shut in and snowed in for a couple of days until they get an opportunity to clear at least the main roads and stuff. But it's usually
it's not like
longer
this,
than that.
unless you have a blizzard or something. And I don't know, maybe some parts of the country where, like, more in the country,
right. And if you get that sustained continual inch per hour snowfall, which can happen sometimes, then that can lengthen it a little bit. But
give you cabin fever.
Sonya's done doing online schooling.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of parents, which I do think for the sake of teachers all over this country, parents that maybe haven't been so kind to their children's educators have
Yeah.
a whole new
Appreciation.
appreciation for their children's teachers and educators, and
Yeah.
that's a good thing. That's never a bad thing for
Yeah, that's
parents to
true.
have a
That's
little bit
true. I know ours
more
are,
understanding.
well, it's helped my granddaughter, I can tell you that, because she was up before anybody else yesterday, for example,
Hmm.
and her daddy was up not long after her, I think, and she was already on the computer, already starting to do her homework, and told him so.
Wow.
And it was like, okay. I told my daughter, I says, I sure hope she doesn't get spoiled for this, because, her being, my daughter being home is not
Hmm.
going to be, always. Yeah. I said, I
Right.
hope she doesn't get spoiled for that, for school and
Yeah,
everything.
because she has those days she doesn't really want to go, and
Exactly. She was having that before her diabetes,
hmm.
onset hit. Uh, but she was that last fall, she was doing really good compared to the previous year. Um, she was a lot more perky in the morning and a lot more
Hmm.
willing to get up and get going, to get on the bus and everything. But after October 1st, that all changed, and understandably so,
Right.
because there was just so much psychologically, emotionally, mentally, whatever you want to call it, physically,
Absolutely.
physiologically, and the whole bit to deal with,
Mhm.
for
That's
her.
a lot to deal with
And
for an adult that gets
exactly.
diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I can't imagine
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
what a
Me
traumatic
neither.
thing that is for a child.
It's crazy. It's crazy for, like you say, for an adult. And, whenever you're 9 years old, well, she was
Mhm.
3 weeks before her ninth birthday whenever this happened. You know,
Mhm.
no, but the thing about type 1 is you watch the sugar intake, yes, you count the carbs, and that's how you determine how much insulin plus your blood sugar level to take.
Mhm.
But you can eat a dessert or something like that.
Right. Right.
So, but you still gotta have a little bit of common sense along with it. I mean, you don't get the one that's 3 inches thick of icing on the top,
Mhm.
you know.
Right.
But
Right.
but you can have some
You have
icing.
a
You can have,
reasonable piece,
yeah,
and
yeah. So that's a good thing for her.
mhm.
Um, the only challenge is if there's anything like that left over, like if we do a family night or something like that, if there's anything left over dessert wise, we pretty much have to bring it with us, because otherwise she will drive her parents crazy, wanting
Mhm.
some more or try to sneak some. And
Yeah.
she's just a kid being a kid. I mean,
She's a kid, right? And sneaking it can be really dangerous
she's
because
yeah, but she's trying real hard to do what's right and everything. She is,
mhm.
she gives her, once everything's been determined, all the math has been done, and everything's determined how many units she needs and all that sort of thing. If she needs any, she does actually dose herself. She actually does give it
Mhm.
herself now, or it has been for some time actually, which is good
Mhm.
because it helps her feel like she's in
Right.
control of things,
Right.
in the ways that she can be. So it's all it's just one of those things you learn to go with the flow,
Mhm.
with
But
the news.
that was a huge adjustment for your whole family. That
Oh yeah,
wasn't just
oh yeah,
I mean, obviously it affected her the most, but in
yeah.
reality,
We
the whole
we're
family had to make adjustments and
we all have to be on our toes constantly. We have to be alert to if she's gone into the kitchen area, what
mhm.
she's actually doing. If she's getting something to drink, what is it? Without, you have
Mhm.
to scrutinize without being obvious.
Right. And without being overbearing and
Exactly, exactly,
completely,
because you
right.
don't want to constantly be on her. Um, but they try to keep things around that she can have more so than what she can't, and the things
Right.
that she can have that she likes. So,
Yeah.
and whenever I bring in stuff, I try to make sure she's got something in the mix that she can
Mm-hmm.
have too. Yeah, it kind of has made I don't know if it's still affecting him the same way, but for a while there after this happened to her, he kept he was quietly concerned about the possibility of it happening to him.
Oh.
And because he's got the same heritage,
Right, right. I didn't think about
feeling
that.
that was on his mind because,
Mm-hmm.
well, my mother had type 2 diabetes. All of her siblings had it,
Mm-hmm.
later in life. It's one of those things that's been on my mind ever since she got it, and I was
Right.
a kid when she got it. So, it's one of those things that I know, it heightened my own awareness about me being more cautious
Mm-hmm.
in general, if nothing else, just for health's sake,
Right. But I wouldn't, I would
But
hadn't really thought about how even your grandson is aware enough to realize that, wow, we have
yes,
the same heritage, so we could have similar issues.
yeah, he's very astute on a lot of things like that. He loves science, and so does Sally, thankfully. But
Mm-hmm.
I did actually ask him one day. I said, is there anything about Sally's situation that concerns you for you? And he says,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I said, well, I kind of thought maybe. I said, because it's made me think about it for me. And so we
Mm-hmm.
talked about it. And I explained to him that just because this happened to her doesn't necessarily mean it will happen to him. Of course,
Right.
not
Right.
knowing, and it was just, she was fine, and then she wasn't.
Right.
That instant thing could happen to him or anybody else, for that matter. But yeah, that's so we talked about it, and that helped him a lot, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But
See, my brain, the way I think, because I had two kids and always was concerned about two kids and, one feeling left out or whatever, that's what I would have been the most worried about was
mhm.
that he would have thought, oh, she gets all the attention and everything's about her and everything has to be about her. What about me?
Thankfully, he's been a really good trooper about that.
That's
He
good.
gets a lot of attention for his own merits,
Mm-hmm.
and she gets attention for her merits and for this, of course. But he's all about, being there for his sister.
That's awesome.
He is very much on alert whenever they're together.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe mom and dad are asleep or something like that, and they happen to be still up at night because it's a summer
Mm-hmm.
night or whatever, or
Right.
or whatever reason that it's just the two of them awake in the other room, and they look out for each other. Actually, there was a couple weeks ago, Landon wasn't feeling well. He was having uh, his allergies were acting up, and he had a headache along with it. And
Mm-hmm.
Sally was worried about him. He wasn't running a fever or anything like that. It wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
but he just wasn't. He just wasn't feeling good, And
Yep.
so she was on alert for him and trying to be watchful for him, and she was awake whenever he was asleep, kind of watching over him, and just like he
Mm-hmm.
would do for her. And I thought it was really interesting that how, she too looks out for him. I figured she did, and I kind
Right.
of noticed it in other ways. But for as much as they argue like siblings do,
Right.
or have their moments, they love each other very much, and they do look out for each other, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is totally awesome. Because we were very aware because our children are 5 years apart that, well, of course it did made perfectly good sense when Jimmy was just an infant still. Ben would say things like, "Remember the good old days before Jimmy was born?"
Yeah, that's a typical older sibling response.
You know, it was
Yeah,
like, "Oh
not
man,
that I don't love my brother, and not that I'm not happy that he's here, but some days
remember
you
how
just,
I got all the attention?" So we were very aware of that and
yeah,
we did make a point in, especially when they were both very young, we made a point to do things separately with each child
that's good.
so that they got their own one-on-one attention
Yeah,
without
that's
man.
a very, very, very good idea. Uh,
Hmm.
my daughter and her husband try to do that also with them, and we try also, and if you bring anything, if we bring anything in the house, for one, we bring it in for the other,
Hmm.
because don't want anybody having their feelings hurt for being left out for any
Yeah.
reason. Yeah, but yeah, kids are great. They're so much fun,
Hmm.
but sometimes they make you want to, climb the walls, and you look up at the ceiling and see all those footprints, and you say, okay, for the size of those, I think they're mine.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's Sonia said she has one that her second youngest gets annoyed when her older sister and younger brother get more attention because of their autism.
Hmm.
Instead of helping, she gets resentful. I can see where at times that can happen.
Yeah.
And
And she's the middle child, always feels neglected too.
oh yeah, I was definitely a middle child. I didn't feel like neglected, but I definitely felt singled out because
Yeah.
my older brother and sister are 11 months apart, and
Hmm.
then there's a 3-year gap, and then me,
Hmm.
and then there's a 2-year gap, and then my little brother and little sister are 15 months apart. So they were
Oh, yeah.
close on both ends, and then I was like really in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's hard.
But
Yeah.
I definitely didn't never felt like, even though there were 5 of us, I didn't feel like as much of middle child syndrome as people you hear about. I didn't
Right.
have that issue as much as I just felt like, wow, they get to do. Didn't. I wasn't old enough to do what the big kids got to do, and I thought I was too old for what the little kids were doing. I had that situation,
Yeah.
but
And then when the little kids were able to do what you were doing at the same time, it didn't seem fair, because
right.
it seemed like that was happening with you with the older kids.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. I started off um, as an only child, and when I was about 5 years old, my mother had a miscarriage,
mm,
and then I was an only child till I was almost 13, and then there were then my brother came along, and that was fine.
mhm,
And unfortunately, he left us at 27. Not by any of his fault, just
mhm,
circumstances, and that person is taken care of. But anyway,
right.
um, then I'm an only child again, and it's like, gee whiz, you know, I didn't like it the second time around, you know,
Right.
because of the circumstances too, but still, just yeah, and
For sure.
yeah, that happened with him right before my 40th birthday, and he had been teasing me. He had been teasing me for like months, about, oh, just wait, I've got plans for you.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know what he had planned, but he was going to make sure, in a fun and teasing way, he was
Right. But that
fun.
probably made your 40th that much worse
Yeah,
because you were missing the ribbing you knew you were gonna get.
yeah. But I have been blessed with wonderful in-laws, just such, and my husband was too. We've talked about that before, and I'm not trying to rub that in on anybody that didn't,
No.
but I remember before all that happened with my brother, I remember telling my mother-in-law one day that I said, I don't know, my brother's got something planned for me for my birthday this year. And
Mm-hmm.
she says, oh yeah, you're turning 40. So to my surprise, my in-laws threw a ice cream party with the family
Aw,
for me for my 40th birthday.
that was
And
nice. That was very
yeah, it
nice.
was nice. And we had just had one at 4th of July
Mm-hmm.
because we always did, so it was, I had no idea this was, they had anything in the works. And
Mm-hmm.
that was a blessing for my parents too, in that situation. It
Mm-hmm.
took a load off of them and everything. And they, my parents were always invited, our parents, invited each other over for things,
Right. Right.
and
Good morning, Michelle. Good morning to you. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning to you.
good
That's when
morning.
it's nice. My
Yeah.
my mom and my mother-in-law were very much good with the other one coming along for family things either way.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that does make your life so much easier.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It really does. And we would, and then after my dad passed, which was just a little over a year after my brother,
Mm-hmm.
uh, my in-laws, and whenever we had family things, they made it an extreme point to invite my mom to things.
Aw, that's sweet.
My
Yeah.
husband's family would meet at Luby's and at um Mazio's. Luby's on Monday, Mazio's on Friday. And not only would they invite her, but for a period of time, they picked her up and brought her with them. Picked them up,
Mm-hmm.
and she rode along with my in-laws and my husband's aunt and uncle,
Mm-hmm.
my mother-in-law's sister and her husband. So yeah, so it was nice of them to include her in their things. And if we didn't get to come, they still picked her up and made sure she got to come.
Aw, that was
So
very
it
nice.
was very
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. Um, just really awesome people. And then my husband's first wife's family was all in on the family too. Whenever there were things, they were invited. So a lot of times, birthdays and things like that, they would show, and we
Mhm.
would go there with other kids in the family's birthdays. And
Right. That makes it so much,
yeah,
that makes it easier on the kids for
oh
sure.
yeah, because
Because that was my mom and my stepmom got along so well that even when my dad was going through some of his worst health issues
mhm,
and we would go over there, my mom would go along, we'd all stay at the house with my stepmom. People would think that's so weird. We would be talking like to my dad's roommate at the hospital, and they're like, "Oh, who's this?" And they're like, "Oh, that's Sparky's first wife." And they'd be like, "Really? You're all here together?" And they were like, "That was normal for us. It was okay."
exactly. And I realize, like you, that it's not that case for everyone, and I'm sorry that it's not. I wish it could
Mhm.
be, but people are people,
I
and
wish it would be for everybody
you know,
because it does make it easier on the kids.
yeah, and we did have our older two kids involved here, and they it wasn't it was one of those things that things did not work out for whatever reason between the first couple.
Mhm.
It didn't mean that her family was at fault.
Right.
you know
Right.
and again, like you said, the kids, they needed to be able to feel comfortable going over there and not
Mhm.
feel like they're the pawns in the big chess game, and
Right.
thankfully it always worked out. And then she lived out of state, and whenever she could come into town, um, you know it was just she stayed at her mom's, so um, the kids, were able to go over there
Mm-hmm.
and spend, time with her too. So I mean, um, which was good for everybody.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
And even in situations where things aren't pretty in the beginning of a
mhm,
split, because a split is never an easy
right,
thing.
right,
My prayer is always that in the end, they will remember that that person was not a horrible person when they married
right,
them, and
right,
that they're not horrible now, and they can at least get along and be friends for the sake of the kids and the
right,
other people around.
exactly,
That's the hardest part sometimes when you have a sister-in-law that you really love, and then all of a sudden they're not part of the family anymore. It's not doesn't make you care for that person any less.
right. And then there's that betrayal thing, that's, yeah.
Right. Exactly. You don't want to.
The other person's kind of stuck with like, oh, well, I lost a sister-in-law that I like too, and just because
Hmm.
you're not married to her doesn't mean I can't be friends, right?
Right.
So
Exactly. That it's a situation,
it
and I
can
always
be
just
it can be kind of crazy.
yep. I was like I said, as a child of a situation like that, I appreciated that I never had to worry that my mom's feelings would get hurt if I did something with my stepmom when I was over there that I enjoyed and had fun. And I could say,
Mm-hmm.
oh, Charlene and I got to go and do this, and we had so much fun. And
Uh-huh.
my mom's feelings weren't hurt. And I appreciated that so much as a
Yeah.
child that I really wish that for every child.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. In our case, my husband had custody because of the circumstances.
Hmm.
And she embarked on a new life with a different person.
Hmm.
I guess that's the best way to put it.
Right.
And that person was not receptive to the kids too.
Mm, that's hard. Yeah.
And so it was I'm pretty sure that was a very difficult decision for her
Hmm.
to
It
not
would have to
contest.
be. It would have to be.
Her heart, I'm sure, was ripped out,
Hmm.
but she made a choice, and she had to decide how she was going to let that fly. And I believe she was looking out for the best interest of the kids.
Hmm.
And I think that as far as that goes, but I also believe and understand and remember that my husband was adamant that this other person was not going to raise his kids. So, I mean, uh,
Hmm.
adamant in that, and I'm putting my foot down. This isn't going to happen. And there was a
Right.
cooperative. They had if you can have it's awkward to have a divorce under those circumstances, but they had what do you call it? A friendly divorce. I don't know. I mean, it.
Well, they had a cooperation after
There
the
you go.
fact.
That's it. Because friendly is really
Hmm.
not the right term.
Right.
I mean, so it worked out, and we praise God for that. And
Absolutely. As I think that's the most important to a kid, that they
mhm,
don't ever want to feel torn between their parents because they have
right.
a inborn love for both of
Oh,
their
sure.
parents, and they don't ever want to feel torn between
Uh-huh.
their parents. And whenever the parents can be grown up enough to co-parent
Right.
without making the child feel torn, it
Hmm.
just makes the child's life so much easier.
And
So
then
much
when there's
easier.
an interloper involved, that really kind of ruins the chances of your parents getting back together.
Right.
The first interloper was her choice, and then here I come along,
Mhm.
you know, like
Mhm.
some years later, and it's like, okay, well, this, finalizes it for sure. But they really, I think they basically based on conversations with them late, as they got older, um, they could sense with that other person that it wasn't going to work, for them to be a part of that. So,
Yeah,
which hurts, of course, but
absolutely.
but thankfully, I made mistakes, and I was rather young to be, a parent, but thankfully God took care of it, you know. And my husband was very supportive. We didn't we stuck together on things.
Mhm.
He didn't, you know, if I made a decision about something, you know, he didn't conflict with that.
He
If he
backed
had,
you, yeah.
if he had an opinion about it, that might have been a little slightly different or something like that. Which really, I don't remember that happening much, if any at all. He would, tell me, well, but personally,
But
aside,
yeah, away from the children,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, and of course, it
But the
was
kids
funny
had to
too.
see, knowing the relationship that you and Jean have, the kids had to see that their dad was happy too.
Oh yeah,
You
oh
know,
yeah,
that makes a difference. If
oh
they
yeah,
feel like, he's in a good place, so this must be going to be okay for us.
yeah. Well, fortunately, I think every parent goes through a time period where they think, "Oh, I really screwed up bad,"
Hmm.
and I did have the opportunity, and I took the opportunity to apologize with each of them, and tell them, "Look, I screwed up sometimes, and I apologize. I'm sorry. I thought I was doing the right thing.
Hmm.
Maybe I wasn't sometimes, and maybe I was, and maybe I don't know. But and there was forgiveness involved. So I mean, it's
Hmm.
and it's one of those things that as they got older and were involved with people and had children of their own or had stepchildren or whatever. I think that also opens the doors to
Oh yeah, it opens their eyes to
yeah,
the
this is the
reality of how hard it can be
yeah,
sometimes. Even with your own children. I mean,
oh
even with
yeah,
my own children, there were times I had to apologize because especially when I was younger and I was working a
mhm,
very high stress job, I had a trigger temper, hair
yeah,
trigger temper,
yeah. It
that
can
I
happen,
would just fly off the handle. And it wasn't that they did anything so bad, but I would just be so tense from work. And if they happened to screw up in any way in that first hour I was home from work and that unwinding time, they would just, oh, poor children, my poor
yeah,
kids. But I also was big enough to learn that at times it was time to say, look, I realize what you did wasn't that bad. And I'm
right,
sorry that I was so angry. That's not your
mhm,
fault.
exactly, yeah,
I think now they would be like, wow, mom, you're angry? Why are you even angry? Because I just don't get angry now.
yeah. I'm pretty laid back now too. I had some stressful times in my life,
Hmm.
and
It's
as
hard
well.
raising kids. That's a lot of work. And then when you're raising kids and working too, and
Oh yeah.
raising kids is a job and working is a job, and holy moly. Did you see
Well,
what
thank you,
Darlene said?
Darlene. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Darlene. We sometimes, um, sometimes we can learn from our mistakes, and sometimes we just don't. We just ignore the
Hmm.
fact, or we're in denial that we made a mistake. And I have to confess, I did that. I've been down that road too. So anyway,
Yeah, Sonia, I think that helps when when the kids are all treated the same, no matter who their parents, their biological parents are, when they're all
exactly.
treated equal, that makes them feel equal. And then
Mhm.
that eases their burden of where do I fit in?
Right. Especially when they're close in age like that, like
Hmm.
in that situation there, um, with Sonia, like Sonia's describing.
Yeah.
That's harder. Of course, as Rebecca was growing up and our older two were, much older, and our
Mm-hmm.
eldest was out of the house. So she was 16 when Rebecca was born. But
Mm-hmm.
um, as Rebecca was growing older, she was like, "How come she gets to do whatever?" I didn't get to do that at that age. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
"No, you're right. You're right." I mean, and what happens is the older you get, the more laid back you get.
The more you realize, yeah, that it wasn't as big of a deal as you thought it was at the time.
Yeah.
Dwayne, I can't imagine that you ever even thought you were wrong.
Well, Dwayne, we can't all be like you, hun.
Right, Denise. I think that was the
Yeah.
thing that I learned. And unfortunately, I didn't have that as a kid in the situation that I grew up in, that I had to learn that through therapy. Thank goodness I went when my kids were younger, and that I was able to learn that it's okay as a parent. You don't lose your status as an authority figure
Right.
if you need to admit that you were wrong.
Exactly. And yeah, and I had to do that. In fact, I've done that a couple times. Well, not a couple of times. I'll say sometimes, multiple times, even
Mm-hmm.
with my grandkids.
Oh yeah.
It's like, you bite their head off. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. You didn't do anything to deserve that.
Right.
Please forgive Nana.
Mm-hmm.
I was whatever caught off guard, or I
Right.
just had something else on my mind, and whatever the situation was, and explain it, and they say,
I think if
they
you're upfront with them like that, with kids like that they're so much more well adjusted, and they learn that it's okay if I'm having a bad day
hmm
and I snap, if I just take a minute and realize it wasn't the person's fault that I flipped out on that,
right,
or I'm acting this way. It's my own internal thing. And they learn to recognize that a little bit
right,
quicker when they've been exposed to people realizing.
right. And I think it helps them learn to read other
Mhm.
people in the situation. I think is what you're saying, maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and not to
as
push.
they're growing,
Don't push when you know somebody's at that point. You're
yeah,
not doing yourself any favors when you push someone over the edge.
exactly.
Uh-oh, you heard thunder. The
You got thunder?
thunder rolls and the lightning
Ooh,
strikes. Do, do, do.
oh my goodness.
We're supposed to get storms today, later today.
I don't know where we are on weather. I hadn't paid that much attention, to be honest. I can't control it, so
Yeah, it looks like the sun's trying to shine right now, but who
yeah.
knows?
Well, my husband
Sometimes
got to
they
cut grass yesterday.
predict
I
it and it
think he,
happens, and sometimes they
yeah.
predict it and it doesn't happen. That's why they say
There you go.
predict.
Exactly. he got the grass cut yesterday. He was concerned about it start raining today or tomorrow, I think. So I don't know. He
Hmm.
probably was more on top of it.
Hmm.
Pleads temporary insanity all the time. Well, that's not temporary if it's all the time. Dwayne, I hate to break it to you, hon. Well, I'll just let you figure it out on your own.
Yeah. Temporary insanity. Yeah.
Our older, our oldest daughter, I used to get tickled with her whenever she was a teenager. Uh, my husband and his first wife had Stephanie rather young in life. they were
Hmm.
they were still in high school when she came along. But so, and here I am, 6 years younger than him.
Hmm.
So when she was a teenager, particularly, it was like we were on to what could be going on in a situation, and we say
Hmm.
something, and she'd say, "That's not fair. Y'all are just too young. All the other people that in my All my friends and their families their parents are old. They don't figure this stuff out. But no, I gotta get the young parents.
Yeah, I got to get the young ones that know what's going on.
Of course, she also was appreciative of the young parents when some of her friends needed help with situations, before they could explain things to their parents.
Right.
It was
Right.
like, a listening ear, giving advice, and helping steer someone to, okay, this is the circumstances you're in. This is what happened. This is what's possible. But regardless, you're going to have to talk to your parents about this,
Mm-hmm.
But it enabled them to ease into it, get an idea of what to expect, and that sort of thing. So
Yeah,
it had its pluses as well.
definitely. I had that with a few of my younger son's friends came to me for advice about things, and I would listen to them and mostly say, I realize that this is a difficult situation, but what you really need to do is talk to your parents. That basically, in a roundabout way, that was always my answer, because you don't ever want to encourage a kid to keep secrets from their parent.
Right, exactly.
Especially if it's serious.
Exactly. But you also want,
But you want to give them a place to land.
Be a detached an adult, who doesn't have the emotions tied up in
Right.
things.
Who can
And
give them a logical way to look
I
at
can't
things.
believe you did this because it hurts me that you did this,
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we used to have a bicycle shop. I think I know I've said that before on here. And we had lots of kids come in for bicycle stuff and skateboard stuff and things like that. And we had lots of kids that we mentored, in this way. They'd come in and they'd have something on their mind. They'd need to talk to somebody, and we'd be there for them. And again, you need to talk to your parents about this.
I'll listen and I'll
Yeah.
tell you my opinion, but
Yeah.
Good morning to Wanda. Good morning to you. Good morning to Wanda. Good morning to you.
We were also a safe place for them to go.
Right.
And that was, the other thing. I realize that's not the case always, but fortunately, we were a safe place for them to go and hang out. And there was this one kid that used to come in all the time, and I knew his mother. She was an artist as well, and she would call and she'd say, "Okay, Terry's there, right? Yeah. Well, if he causes you any problems, you just send him on home." I'd say, "He's fine, he's nothing." So, it was one of those things. She told me, later years, wherever we would run into each other, she says, always, whenever I knew he was there, I knew he was fine. He was safe. She said, I didn't have to worry about him.
Yeah, that's nice too. Exactly.
Yeah. So hey, Wanda.
My older son had a friend, a very close friend growing up, that his dad had passed away when he was very young. So his mom was a single parent without the support of another parent.
Right.
And he and his mom knocked heads a few times, and he would come to our house to vent about his feelings about his mom, and mostly just to vent and to have a listening ear. And you learn to appreciate that in him, like, okay, get it off your chest and say how much you're mad at your mom, and then go home and work it out with mom.
Right, exactly.
Because she's all you got.
Did you see what Sonia actually had said?
Yeah.
Thunder while smoking herbs.
Too funny. Too funny.
Thank you, Darlene. I didn't miss that the first time.
Well, some herbs are legal to smoke in Michigan, but they still haven't worked out the details, so I'm steering way clear of that. I only smoke the stuff that tobacco that's been legal for years, because I don't
Yeah.
want to mess with stuff that's iffy on what's legal and what's not. And
Well,
and my doctor still feels really strongly about that too. And
oh
I'm not.
yeah, it would affect your other medicines too,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I've had upper respiratory challenges one way or another all my life.
You
And
don't need
so
to add anything crazy like that.
right, I never, I peer pressure, one puff, coughed my head off, said, look, you can keep this. I don't need this. I cough all the time as it is. I don't need any more coughing in my world.
Mm-hmm.
I just stood my ground and nope. And thankfully, I've been able to avoid that. But, you get secondhand smoke and that sort of thing. But
As a smoker, I try to be
it's not the same.
conscientious of the people around me that don't smoke. That
Yeah. A lot of smokers are conscientious like that, and that helps. My daughter smokes, and she's real conscientious, but they don't smoke in the house. They smoke
we
outside.
don't either. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Sonia said when her elder two were teenagers, she used to feel like a halfway house. That's a good thing, though, Sonia.
Yeah, that's true. And it's good for the kids to feel comfortable in your presence, to be able to talk about these things without fear of reprisal.
Right. I used to always hope that my kids had friends' parents that gave my kids the same thing that I was trying to give their kids,
Right.
So that did make a difference. I gotta step away for 1 second. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I'll only be gone a second.
Okay. Oh, you're stuck with me and Chica. Wacky tobacco makes you hallucinate. Okay. Yeah, crazy enough. Yeah, me too. Me too.
I was just staring at a bag of M&Ms and just had to have one. They were screaming at me across the room.
They do that. I understand. They did that before they leaped into your basket.
Mm-hmm. They were just screaming. I couldn't ignore them any longer.
No, I have things like that around my house too.
My stomach was growling, and they were yelling. It was just getting to be more than I could handle.
Well, I'm glad that you saved them from being ignored.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I tell you, yeah, there's so many things that I go into Dollar General with the intention of buying just a couple things for the kids, to have a snack on. That's okay, And next thing I know, I've got my arms like this, and I'm hanging on to everything with my fingers in cramps. Well, they start off fine. By the time I get up to the register and it's my turn, it's like I've got to pry them off of everything. Oh, the other day they surprised me when I came in, and she says, "Your basket number 6." I said, "But I don't need a basket." She says, No. You have to have a basket. That's our policy. That's how we keep track of how many people are in here. I said, "Oh, okay, I can do that." She says, "We sanitize them." She says, "I just sprayed it." I said, "Okay."
And
yeah,
but that's sometimes when you don't. I get in a situation where I don't take a basket because I don't want to get too much stuff.
That's what I'm doing usually. And when I start getting to where I can't hold it anymore, I know it's time to get to either put something back or leave. Usually it's leave. But
Sonia grabbed a bag of Doritos and hummus. Now that would have been good. Better than.
Oh, good. You're not dead, Darlene.
That's a good thing.
Hey, all right. Yeah, I did good that day that I got basket number 6. I only, the kids seat area, I only filled up that. It pretty much would be what I had in my
Oh,
arms.
that's not bad. Yeah,
I
that's
had a
not
few
bad.
things, just a couple things down below. And because the content basically was about what I would normally just carry. So, but I didn't have cramped fingers that time. But anyway,
I
well,
wondered how they were keeping track
yeah.
because
Well,
I know that they were
we had 10
saying,
baskets, and they were only letting 10 people in at a time. And so, yeah.
because even the bigger stores at this point are supposed to be regulating the number of people in the store at any given time. And
The Walmart here was doing that the other day when I went in there a couple weeks ago. I say the other day, a couple weeks ago when I was there. There was a man sitting there with his keeping up people coming and going, watching. So
they must
yep.
did they direct people through one entrance or?
Yes, they're using one entrance and one exit. All it's right there together, and they've got a like a police tape, the caution line. It's not a police tape, but it's a caution tape down the middle to keep you from venturing,
Right.
way, to keep everybody divided. And they have like a queue now, where you line up, and they have tape or paint on the ground to where you have to be, that 6 feet apart. And then in the lines, they've got the same thing. My husband had to go to Lowe's the other day for something to repair plumbing thing at my daughter's house, and he's got what he needs, and he's standing in line, and he's not thinking about where he is, right? And one of the people working there goes, "Sir, sir, 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 sir," and it's like, pay attention to where you are, because he was like 3 feet away from the person in front of him instead of 6 feet.
I can see. Yeah, I can see how that happens.
I didn't mean to creep up on him.
Yeah, it's just habit. We're just used to living our lives a certain way, and
give people their space. We give them a bubble, and not normally a 6 foot bubble, but
some people, like my son, who doesn't like people in his bubble and doesn't like to be touched, are appreciating and loving this social distancing. Some people like me, who is a toucher and a hugger, I'm struggling with that because I have to make a point, because Ryan is an in-betweener. He can go both ways. But I'm like, you have to stop and give me a hug. I need that.
Yeah.
I'm really going crazy right now, not seeing other people and not hugging my grandbabies. And
right. That's what I always tell my grandkids whenever like if it was Friday and we wouldn't see them probably again until Sunday, maybe, or Monday, I'd say, look, I got to have an extra hug because I need a recharge, because I need enough to make it.
Darlene, something is seriously wrong. You need to go to the doctor right now.
No appetite for chocolate or ice cream? Well,
drop everything. Go to the doctor right now. Something is seriously wrong with you.
Well, I got to tell you, Darlene, last night I succumbed to the Cheetos. Gene had a week or so ago, he had picked up a couple bags of Cheetos, thinking that Mama might need some Cheetos again. And I was gonna,
you were gonna send them out.
I was gonna pick a good time to send them to her, and actually, I was gonna send them pretty quick, but I found out that she had just gotten 4 bags. So, of course, I jokingly said 4 days.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I noticed they weren't on the table where they had been. I said, "What happened to the Cheetos?" He says, "Oh, I put them up there." I said, "Oh, okay." Well, that was a couple days ago. But last night I got hungry, and there wasn't anything anything at all. I thought, Cheetos, I can get Mama another bag.
Mhm.
Oh boy. So I succumbed to the Cheetos.
Mhm.
There's still a full bag up there for Mama. Anyway.
Sonia,
Yeah.
my son is like that. He doesn't like people in his bubble. His son is the only person on the planet who can invade his bubble without having to have an excuse or a fair warning, um, which is nice. And I love that about him, that he has allowed his son to invade his bubble and his space
That's
whenever
good.
he wants.
That's really good.
But he knows if he ever needs a hug, he knows where to go. He just has to go to mom and say, I really need a hug. He knows that he'll get a hug from mom every time, but I don't. My older son, I can hug automatically, but that my younger son is, it bothers him so much so that I have to say, when I need to hug him for something, I
Yeah.
have to say, I'm going to hug you now.
Yeah. Well, Sally's like that too, to a certain extent. She's not real. Sometimes she's cuddly and lovey, but most of the time she's not. And
Yeah.
if she's sitting there, if you just touch her, she doesn't like it all the time.
Mhm.
Occasionally she'll let you do it, but for the most part, she's gonna tell you something or kind of move her or something. And I can respect that. But I'm a toucher. I'll touch her shoulder or her knee or something like that, and not think about it. And then she's body language reminding me.
Yeah. That was hard for me with Jimmy when he was little. It was really a hard adjustment for me.
Now Landon, on the other hand, he's right now he's still a hugger, and he will cooperate. But I know that there's going to come a day when he's going to reach that little boy point where it's going to be, nope, not doing it. No, can't make me.
Brantley is starting to get like that, just like his dad. But I can still invade Brantley's space and
Yeah,
just to irritate him, to kiss him on the cheek or give him a hug.
yeah.
And he's like, no! And I tell him, I'm your Nana.
That's right. I have rights.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Sonia, they were screaming at me, please come and get a handful. I didn't grab the whole bag. I just grabbed a handful so that I would have a little restraint. But
Well, I gotta tell you, Darlene, I was on. If you hadn't popped into the chat, I was going to be FaceTiming Mama. Got off of here because I had sent a message to Casey asking how everybody was, and I hadn't heard from him either, and I hadn't heard from you. So I was like, wait a minute. Of course, I did finally hear from you. You did post a deal on Christian womanhood, but after that, I was still, anyway. Bottom line, you're off the hook. Mama can rest easy. I wasn't gonna wake her up.
But it's hard. That Sonia, I get that too. My grandson Brantley, even though he doesn't like that now, he's getting to that point like his dad. He doesn't want a hug and he doesn't want Nana to kiss on his face. And but if I say, Brantley, I love you, he'll always say, I love you too, Nana. Always.
Yeah. And that's all good. Shelter in, shelter in. What? Well, yeah. Affection is a tricky thing. It's a tricky thing.
And it's hard when you are a huggy, touchy-feely, and not in a bad way person,
Right.
and
Right. It is.
you're around people who are not that way at all.
My fingers were stained orange last night.
Were they? Too funny.
But I solved it. They're clean and all good today.
Mama must have like a continual slight orange tinge as much as she eats Cheetos.
Yeah, a bag a day keeps the grumbly tummy away.
Mhm. Good morning, Darlene B. Good morning to you. Good morning, Darlene B. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Darlene B. Am I too loud?
Mm-mm.
Turn it down a little bit. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Okay. Can you still hear me? Can you hear me
I
now?
can hear you now.
Good deal. Good deal.
How's everything at Darlene B's today?
The goats and the chickens and whatever else.
Oh man, I feel bad after I had to go sit at my son's house yesterday while he had his internet switched, which he has to. He works out of his house all the time,
Mm-hmm.
so he does his paperwork for work at home on the internet
Yeah.
all the time. So he
Mm-hmm.
has to have a decent amount of a decent working internet at home.
Yeah.
He's been having a little bit of difficulty with his internet, and then he found a different internet company that is supposed to be faster and cost $10 a month less.
Oh,
So
that.
that he decided he was going to make a switch. So that's what I was doing yesterday morning, was sitting at his house while they were switching his internet over.
Mm. Am I hearing me?
Mm-mm.
You sure?
I don't know. Oh,
I'm hearing
Casey has
voices.
Oh, you see, you're lucky, Darlene, because that's my Jimmy. My Jimmy is a very, very loving and kind soul, but he is just more of Wright's heritage in that touchy-feely thing. Wright's family never were
Mm-hmm.
huggers. They never said I love you out loud. They just didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy's very much takes after that family. And that I had to learn over the years to just be
That's
okay
how,
with it. It was
that's how my
hard.
husband's family was too.
They
Yep.
did tell my husband when his mom was very sick with cancer and was in the last days, and we knew she was in the last days of her life.
Mm-hmm.
I said to him, you need to tell your mom out loud that you love her, because you don't want to have any regrets that you never said that to her.
Right.
And he did, and he is grateful to this day that I pushed him to say that.
Yeah. That was good for you to remind him, because sometimes you get caught up in things and
Mhm.
you've got blinders on and you're focused on what's happening right now, and you don't necessarily relax and think things about some things,
Mhm.
what you got to think about, and make those decisions you got to make, and
Mhm.
you're waiting for the doctor and you're trying to, find out what's wrong and what the prognosis is and everything. And
Exactly.
so, yeah, it was good that you redirected his focus to that.
I just said, look, you don't want to regret that you didn't say it. And even though that's not something your family says frequently, he had gotten used to the way my family is, and he has gotten better about he doesn't look like the fish who was suddenly yanked out of the water when somebody in my family goes to give him a hug, like he used to be like, oh, it used to crack me up when we were first dating.
Darlene, you don't have to be sorry, hon, for not getting back with me. I wasn't trying to guilt you. I was
She
just
was
messing
just
with
trying to
you.
say she was worried.
I was worried, yeah. I was kind of teasing you too, since you were in here and sounding better.
Uh-oh.
You had your mask, good.
I'm glad you had your mask.
Yeah. Yeah, that day that I went to Walmart a couple weeks ago, I had the mask that my daughter had made for me. She made one for me and her dad. Actually,
We are required now to wear masks in any public place that is enclosed.
Ah, okay. I don't think we have an absolute requirement here, but a lot of people are, you know.
They're saying that if the stores and whatnot can actually refuse service to somebody who's not wearing a mask, but the police departments aren't going to, at this point, aren't going to ticket or arrest somebody for not wearing one. That's where they're at right now. But
Yeah. But if
it's up to
you
the store. They have the option. They can actually refuse service to somebody who's not wearing a mask. So that's kind of interesting.
Ooh, I wonder if we're going to get down to the signs on the door where usually you saw the no shirt, no shoes, no service,
Mm-hmm.
no gloves, no service.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
34
Wow.
babies and 30 nannies at Darlene B's.
Wow. You've got your hands full, darling.
Mm-hmm.
Man, oh man. All I can say is those critters are much better off with you than they would be with me. I got my hands full with one little chihuahua.
Mm-hmm. Sonia, I've been wearing mine before that was a requirement too, because I have compromised immune
Right.
system. And from everything I've read and heard from sources that I feel are reliable, which, you have to take each thing with a grain of salt at this point, that when they were first saying the people who were sick or who potentially had it should wear a mask to keep from spreading it
Mm-hmm.
rather than the other way around. But now they're saying that the best protection is the person who potentially may have it and the person who potentially could get it.
Mm-hmm.
Both wearing a mask is the least likely to transmit.
Yeah. It's a better safe than sorry situation.
Yeah. Aw, Darlene B lost 4. That's sad. Even though I know that there's probably some
Oh.
amount of that you expect, but
Oh.
that's not fun. Never fun.
No. Yeah, Sonia, I agree with you. She says some people think it's funny to cough in your face.
Why? But
Even
seriously, why do people think that that's funny right now? Like, that if you cough right now, you
Mm-hmm.
make people nervous no matter
Oh,
what,
yeah.
even if it's smoker hack or whatever,
Right. Or allergies,
right, allergies, whatever. So you want to be completely aware of how traumatic it can be for somebody else if you start coughing near them,
Mm-hmm.
and people out there are people who think that that's funny,
Yeah.
and it's not funny.
No, there's no joking here. Not with that.
It could be your loved one that gets sick
Mm-hmm.
and passes from this, who gets extremely sick. I don't want anybody I know and care about to become seriously ill and potentially pass away.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I wouldn't
no,
want anyone else to have that fear, you
no,
know? I wish that none of us had to worry about it.
exactly. But there's smart alecks out there that don't think about the big picture, how it affects, how it
Mhm.
can affect somebody, and or even just make them feel at that moment. That day that I went into Walmart a couple of weeks ago,
Mhm.
I have to tell you, when I came back home, I felt like, well, I had to drop something off at my daughter's house. I picked up something for her. And when I was there, before I got out of the car, I took my mask off.
Mhm.
And then when I went in her house, I told my grandson, I said, I love you. I can't hug you yet. So I went in there and I washed my hands and all the way up, all the way up my
Mhm.
arms, my face, my neck. And I said, okay, now. But even with that, I felt better after that, but I felt like my clothes were
Mhm.
contaminated. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
I couldn't wait to get home. And I know I was overreacting because nobody was around me that was coughing or anything. It was all
Mhm.
my imagination, you know.
Yeah, but it's just something that
But
a
I mean,
little bit of prevention is worth the time it takes you, for
oh
sure.
yeah. But I didn't want to risk, bringing something into their home.
Right.
So especially with Sally's immune system is compromised.
Mhm.
And
So my
and
brother
yeah,
he lives in a two family with my mom.
uh-huh.
My mom has a downstairs and my little brother and his wife live upstairs, and my brother's
Oh,
being very protective of my mom, and I
yeah,
appreciate that. He's been going to the grocery store for my mom, my aunt, and my other aunt, and
oh,
and another aunt every
yeah.
week. Good morning, AJC Magic. Good morning to you. Good morning, AJC Magic. Good morning to you.
That was a fridge, if you don't mind. Thank you.
But yeah, that's just I appreciate that I know that he is keeping an eye on them and keeping them out of the
Hmm.
stores. They
Right.
My mom and my one aunt both have diabetes,
Yeah.
and the other aunt that he's been shopping for only has one kidney and was, I can't remember now if she was born that way or it happened very young that she lost a kidney, but
Mm,
she only has one kidney. So,
right.
there are things that somebody needs to watch out for them, and he
Yeah.
says he's going out for him and his wife anyway. So he just picks up stuff for the lady, for our mom and aunts, and drops it back off. And
Well, that's very thoughtful of him and very handy and helpful for them too.
Mhm. And he goes to their house to get their list, because that way, if there's something on their list he has no idea what they're talking about,
He can
he has
ask.
them grab like the empty package so he can snap a picture on his phone so he knows he's getting the right thing. I'm like, that was smart of you, brother. I'm proud of
Yeah.
you.
Very smart. Yeah. Good deal.
Yep. See, Sonia said
Yeah.
she has a bottle of diluted bleach.
Yeah. Good idea. Yeah. It was like, yeah. And where did I go the other day? Oh, I had to go to the bank. And after the bank, I was hungry. So I went by Chick-fil-A. And at Chick-fil-A, they have the little hand sanitizer in the
Mm-hmm.
packages. And so, of course, you have to go through the drive-through. There's no other way. So I asked for the hand sanitizer. So she brings out. She had already brought me my meal. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was asking about the hand sanitizer, and so she got that, and she came over with it on the tray. And she had two. I said, I only need one.
Mm-hmm.
I cleaned my hands from dealing with the bank, and
Right.
then I wiped my steering wheel down and the shift gear, the
Mm-hmm.
gear shift lever. And then I felt okay.
Then you could, yeah, exactly.
I could eat my pack of chicken nuggets. But I saw
Did you see
her.
what Norgus said? She would probably accidentally slap somebody who was acting stupid like that with that fake coughing.
Yeah.
Accidentally. Just say you fake slapped him.
Oh darn! How'd that happen?
I fake slapped your fake coughing. I think it's stupid.
Yeah,
Hand sanitizer is still in low supply. We're
yeah.
up here in Michigan for sure, and I think everywhere around here.
I think it's like that
It's not.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's not in abundant supply at this point still.
Well, it's handy, no pun intended.
Mhm.
But the I saw a video that about where two doctors were talking about a study they had done with the numbers in California and New York and whatnot. And one of the things that one of them had pointed out was, under normal conditions, you want to wash your hands, often, but and when we're normally in a state where we're not wrapping, say, and isolate them from all the germs because then they don't develop their immune system.
Right.
He says, so you kind of have, but you got to be careful that you don't overdo it as well, but at the same time, you got to do it for this. So it's like, whenever we get through this, I guess what he's trying to imply, you know, anyway, I
Did
don't
you
want
see
to.
what Michelle said? $40 a bottle at Piggly Wiggly in Lamira, Wisconsin. Oh my goodness.
You've got to be kidding me.
Now see, like that, I don't know like how the laws work, but I know for a fact that in Michigan we have price gouging laws that
Yeah,
would not
I would,
allow that.
I would think. Oh my goodness. I mean, I don't know. Retailers technically usually base their sales price or their product price on what they paid.
Right, right.
It could be that they were charged exorbitant amount of money.
Oh my goodness. Sonia said she has a friend that picked up a bottle of hand sanitizer for $50 for 1 liter of hand sanitizer. That is just insane. I would rather dilute some bleach and dip my hands in that than pay that kind of money for hand sanitizer.
Alcohol.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Crazy, crazy.
Because I have used more diluted bleach to wipe surfaces than I normally would.
Right.
Normally I would use like a dish soap or whatever. And
Well, considering, they were talking about how long the germ in saliva, lasts under different conditions out in the sun or indoors, and the effectiveness of bleach and or alcohol.
yeah.
And so, with this circumstances, you're right. You're right to, wipe down surfaces with something like that because the things that come in from outside,
Just to be safe. Well, and right sits his
it's also
dirty lunch pail on my kitchen counter,
Yeah, peace of mind.
Yeah.
Peace of mind is worth it.
Good morning to Kelly. Good morning to you. Good morning to Kelly. Good morning to you.
Hey, Kelly. Yeah, and you got to remember to wash that diluted bleach off your hands too, because if you get out in the sun, oh boy, that's not a good thing. You'll burn your hands. You'll burn your skin.
Yeah. That's just it. We're so used to being able to use stuff. You don't have to rinse back off.
Mm-hmm.
But now, it's just a whole different world now.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. But perhaps it will pass, and we will be able to get some semblance of normal back in our life. And
Mhm.
um, I think we'll always be, our awareness will be heightened, kind of like after 9/11.
Mhm.
You're gonna.
Good morning, Denise. Good morning to you. Good morning, Denise. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Denise.
Are you
Yeah.
guys getting commercials? I'm seeing commercials on my local stations that say this and that and stay home and be safe and don't hoard toilet paper. I swear. On a commercial. I don't know. I can't even tell you what commercial it is because I don't always watch
Yeah.
the TV. I just kind of have it on for noise.
Right. Right. So I hadn't heard that one, but I've been hearing the while the while we're in this time period, be safe, be
Mhm.
mindful. But our company cares about you. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Product companies of all kinds, or doing something like that. But I hadn't heard the don't hoard the toilet paper.
Yeah. I swear there's a commercial on up here that says about all this blah 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 and don't hoard toilet paper. Okay.
Yeah, I
Frank did
think
say that the toilet paper aisle at the grocery store he goes to is currently filled with cereal.
well, they're making use of the space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you hate to have empty shelves that can't pay the bills. So
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the takeaways from this situation, I think, will be have some backup supply. You don't have to have a lifetime supply, but a backup, like where you would normally have the one you're using, maybe have one more behind it just in case, and
Mm-hmm.
then that one have one you're
Mm-hmm.
backup or something like that. But um, that's a couple ways we may be looking at things differently. Also, like you were mentioning earlier, you know, I was telling my daughter something along those lines the other day. We're probably gonna whip our head around anytime someone coughs or sneezes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how dare
Well,
you?
in the past, there are certain things like toilet paper, dish soap, olive oil, certain things that I would wait till I was nearly out and then put it on the list
Right.
to pick up the next time we were at the store. Where now, yeah, there are some things that as soon as I'm opening a fresh one, I'm putting it on the list because it might not be at the store
Exactly.
this week or next week or
I think I've all had to start thinking in those terms, like, maybe I'm not out now, but I've got half a, you can
Mhm.
burn yourself to it sooner than normal.
Right.
Basically,
Exactly.
yes, that's good practice. I think that's probably what a lot of people will be doing.
Mhm.
I was thinking about when I was putting on my deodorant. I thought, wait, do we have a backup of this yet?
Exactly. It's silly things like that you don't necessarily worry about. Like oh, I'm almost out. I better stick that on the list for when we go to the store this week.
Yeah,
But now you're like making sure you have a backup of things.
right. Whenever the toothpaste was getting down to, we were under the halfway point on that tube, I was like, uh, whenever you think of it and you see it on the shelf, be sure to buy the toothpaste.
Hmm.
And I reminded him, we buy the Colgate brand,
Right.
and there's so many different varieties within that brand, and probably others.
Hmm.
And I said, remember, we use this particular one, and because sometimes he buys the wrong one, and if he buys two, which he did, Then we twice as long with the
Twice as long with the wrong toothpaste. Yeah.
Gotta have the tartar control. I'm sorry. But anyhow,
Mm-hmm.
so just having to rethink all that. Yeah.
I buy
Yeah.
beef ramen noodles because Brantley loves beef ramen noodles. So when he's over, that's what he usually wants for lunch.
Oh, that's
Just
easy.
like I keep Kraft mac and cheese in the cupboards because that's what Callan always wants.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty handy too.
I had beef ramen noodles because I'm down to like 3 packs, the little packs. So we buy the whole box at a time.
Yeah. Good idea.
And so I put that on the list. And 2 weeks in a row, there wasn't any ramen noodles.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next week, when Wright went, there was chicken ramen noodles, but not beef. But he went ahead and bought chicken because he thought, well, it's better than running out completely. But I don't know if Brantley will eat that. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
He's a kid, some things he's like, I don't like that kind.
Yeah. I hear that too. Oh, wait, that was me talking. Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Definitely.
Oh, good morning to Craig. Good morning to you. Good morning to Craig. Good morning to you.
Hello, Craig. How you doing, stranger?
Good morning, Craig. How's your
Yeah.
water leak project coming along?
What project?
He had the siding off the one end of his house
Oh.
because they had a little leak.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought you said water leaf project. I thought, what in the world is that? And you're saying, yeah, what in the world is that? It's coming slowly. Okay.
Darlene said she heard on the news report that one ply is more efficient right now to catch up on the demand. I won't use one ply. I will wait. I still have a supply because we buy the big, huge packs that have several 4-packs in them.
Mm-hmm. I prefer the Scott Tishy brand because it works best with our pipes. We have less clogs whenever we use that brand. I think it's a one-ply brand, but it's still 1,000 sheets on a roll. It's still one roll of that will last me longer than any roll of anything else.
Right.
But it has septic safe on the side of the package, and it really does work better for some reason under our water conditions and whatever. If you got sediment in the water and whatnot.
Right.
It helps keep the pipes clear here. So
that makes sense.
That's what we stick with it whenever we can. Now, right now, it's get what you can. And so currently we don't have that brand. So I'm having to be mindful of how much you're using, I guess you'd say, and that sort of thing.
Denise, I'm definitely praying for your pain. Good morning to Mary. Good morning to you. Good morning to Mary. Good morning to you.
Oh, I didn't know that Walmart had a brand of that. Good to know.
There are certain things we have to admit that there are certain things in your life that there are certain brands that you would prefer.
Right.
Not to say you would never use something else, but for example, I grew up eating Jif peanut butter. Even though my mom probably skimped on a lot of other things, we always had Jif peanut butter.
Right.
And so that's what I grew up on, and that's what I like. I definitely pick up store brand peanut butter to bake with if I'm baking something that needs peanut butter. But to eat on a sandwich, I would prefer Jif.
That's the kind we buy too.
I'm just telling you. 3 squares. That's
Yeah.
all they get when they go. Kids are the worst. Kids are the worst. I notice that when my grandkids are around, the toilet paper in the spare bathroom, like a whole roll will disappear.
Oh, AJC, it's just leaving. Barely, it didn't get to tell you hi. Hi and bye in the same breath. I don't
See you
like that.
later. Thank you,
Oh.
Darlene. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah. You too. Yes.
Mary, I'm feeling okay today. I'm feeling okay. Now that I have 1 shot in, they usually give me 1 injection, which is a sympathetic nerve injection. And then I get 2 weeks later, I get a ganglion. Oh, that's not the whole name of it. Something ganglion block.
Mm-hmm.
Once I've had both of them, then I'm good for several weeks. I'm like usually okay for several weeks, but so I'm in between the 2 shots, but I'm doing okay.
It's a double whammy. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Good deal. Yeah, the brand loyalty thing. I have certain things that I'm like that too. Certain things, other things of course, I guess it's one of those things you find something you like, why change?
Right, you stick with it. Well,
Yeah.
you find that there are some things I found as an adult once I started making the decisions in the grocery store and stuff, that there were some things that a store brand was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And there were other things that you buy the store brand and it really was, you're wasting your money because it wasn't even edible compared to what you were used to, So
Exactly.
you learn what works for your family and what doesn't. And
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we when the kids were younger, we bought Peter Pan peanut butter,
mm-hmm,
but we always buy crunchy.
mm-hmm.
And on the times that we bought creamy, it's like a mistake usually.
Mm-hmm.
I think my son liked the creamy okay, but the rest of us were like, I can't get it off the roof of my mouth,
Yeah. Yeah.
But our youngest daughter likes creamy.
Yeah.
But I even like to use crunchy whenever I'm making peanut butter cookies.
Oh, I love crunchy in baking for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The extra texture of the nuts in there, absolutely.
Oh yeah, making myself hungry now.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking because I have my husband going to be calling on his lunch and I have to be 100% ready to go after lunch, that we will cut this short in about 15 minutes or so, quarter to 11.
But we don't want to crowd you.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to like very abruptly, but I want to also be sure that I'm ready for the things I got to take care of too.
Sure. Fair warning. Fair warning.
Does anybody have any prayer requests? We haven't had any prayer requests. I'm definitely putting Darlene on my prayer request and hoping she feels better and comes back with us
Yes, definitely.
because we miss her terribly.
Oh yes. Well, the peanut butter doesn't fly, but the little Peter Pan on the label has a little thing like he's flying around. How you have
Yeah,
that.
Peter Pan. Peter Pan is like probably there's like Jif and Peter Pan are probably the top brands in the United States for peanut butter, I
Maybe.
think.
Skippy.
Oh yeah, Skippy.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the top few brands for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now you got to be careful, that it's really peanut butter and that it doesn't have, there's this, what is that? substitute that they're using in there starts with, I want to say it starts with a K, and there's a word about that long. So if it has something other than peanut butter, sugar, salt, and nuts, peanuts, I can't remember what that other ingredient is now. It's kind of a filler or something that's really not. It's definitely not good for dogs,
Right.
or animals. So if it's not good for them, I don't think it's good for us. So that's just my opinion. I can't remember what the ingredient is called now. The other day I probably could have told you, but now that I'm trying to remember it, no way.
I can't. Denise, I wrote that down. I will definitely put that on my list. Oh, exactly, Sonia. And Callie,
Yes.
symptoms of a cold in my ear, nose, and throat, right side, started yesterday. Gotcha. Sonia, prayer for patience with the kids and for your physical therapy for your shoulder, definitely.
Yes. Sciatica. Oh, also for Callie, down to her ankles on the right side. Whew.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's not comfy.
No.
Yep. I need prayer for motivation.
All right.
Motivation to going through my lifetime collection of assorted things that I need to throw some things away and give some things away, and of course keep some things. So I need prayer for motivation.
Absolutely. You got it. I'm enjoying the things you gave to me.
I'm glad.
I am. The markers have all been fine. Everyone I've used has been completely fine. So,
Good.
you were concerned about that, but they've all been good.
I kind of was wondering because I don't remember how long I've had them, but
yeah, they've been fine.
So.
Ooh, Callie. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. I'm trying to get everything writing down.
My goodness.
Oh, okay, Callie.
Thank you, Denise.
That's funny.
Well, Mary, I have to say this. My husband and I have been married for over 43 years. Working on 44. He's been in this house since May, before we got married in October. So since June 1st, I guess, before we got married. We have lived in this home our entire marriage. We have had kids, grow up. All of them grow up. All of them move out. All of them have left a little something behind.
As they do.
And so we need to, make sure they get their stuff. And along the way, I have collected a lot of things that I just feel like I just can't live without, Yeah, I know I can in some things. But 43 years in one place is not necessarily a bad thing in a lot of ways, but in some ways it is a bad thing because you don't necessarily toss things,
That's true, because when's the time that you do the most sorting and tossing is when you have to move and pack things up. And physically pick things up and move them from one home to a new home.
Right, and figure out what to do with them once you get there. So yeah.
Oh my goodness.
There's motivation there.
Norgus, I've definitely, I pray for Tiffany every day, but definitely.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I have to say that when my kids, grew up and moved out, their rooms, there's no such thing as a vacuum. It got filled.
For sure.
Mm. Oh, thank you.
That is why I asked my best friend's son, Matt, to hang on to my number because her husband, Larry, that I'm going to the funeral home for today, he had his mom's estate. His mom passed away, then his wife passed away, then his sister passed away.
Oh my.
All that happened within a year and a half.
Oh,
And he was the one that was responsible to wrap up the estates for all of them. So he's got bits and pieces from everywhere
yeah.
now at the house. So I told Matt to hang on to my number when he's ready to start sorting and packing to give me a call. I would be more than happy to go sort and pack so that he can move it to where he needs to move it to.
Yeah. Yeah. I just got some stuff that had been at my mom's to our house out of my daughter's way. And if we end up over at my father-in-law's house and leave this one,
Mhm.
we'll be scaling down from what's technically a 4-bedroom house, small 4-bedroom house, to a 2-bedroom house. Technically, when we got married, it was a 3-bedroom house with a den. And when Rebecca came along, we ended up converting the den into a bedroom and
That
putting
makes
a
sense.
wall up,
Mhm.
you know, and making a wall between that. We had like a breakfast area. We had the kitchen, breakfast area, and then the den. So we
Mhm.
we put a wall up between the breakfast area and the den, so we still had the breakfast area. But
Mhm.
the den became her bedroom. Built a closet in and all that kind of stuff for her.
Mhm.
And of course a storage closet for us, right? Okay, yeah. So that's another. Yeah. So I got the storage closet and the leftovers from the different bedrooms and the
Mhm.
yeah.
Uh-huh. I can't imagine because I
I,
seriously have gotten rid of a lot of stuff
I'm not
every
exactly
time we
that
moved.
rat, but I do have a lot of. I've accumulated things. Okay, I'm
But
in
you
denial.
don't
Back
you
rat.
but seriously, Liz, I do not, like I say, well, I'm going to pack this away because I might need it. But until we physically have moved in our marriage, that
Uh-huh.
I go through stuff that's been packed away and put in the basement or in the shed or here or there, that I go through that stuff and say, do I really need this? No, I don't really need this. Where if we never moved, I would
Uh-huh.
still
Yeah,
have.
gotcha.
So I can see where you would, because I
Yeah.
wouldn't have gone through it. And
Well, and it's overwhelming, to have to sort
Mhm.
and decide, you know, what seems like an endless.
Right,
And see, the other challenge we have is over the years we've had different interests and hobbies, and about
right.
the time that you decide you're going to get rid of it, it seems like not long after you've done that, that's when you decide to get back into it again. And then you don't, so it's
Hmm.
like, do you keep it and maybe never
In
get back
case,
into it,
yeah.
or just in case, or will it still be good whenever you get back into it?
Hmm.
Will those things still be what is used?
Right.
It's, yeah, kind of crazy. So yeah, I've got stuff like that. I've got uh my husband and I both, were interested in photography over the years, and we took a lot of photographs, back when it
Hmm.
was film even. And I have boxes and boxes and boxes of photographs, you know,
Hmm.
from personal life and from when we had the bicycle shop and the bicycle club and everything like that too. So and then I'm into genealogy. I'm kind of the family historian. I'm kind of I'm the church historian. I
Hmm.
wrote a history book for the wrote history for the history book for the church. I didn't do all the history book. I have it was a group effort. We had different
Hmm.
people. I had different people writing about different things that.
Right.
Thankfully, I didn't have to write it all. but different aspects and different groups and whatnot that were involved over the years. But anyhow, the thing is, I have all that too, and it's not like I'm not interested in that anymore. It's like, of course, the thing that my
Mhm.
husband did point out, he says, if you have two copies of the same information, do you have to have both of them? So, well, yeah, that's a good point. I could trim down that way, but
Right.
but I don't know.
But it's
Yeah,
hard. Like,
it is hard.
like I
And then the
know that
you know,
when we go to work on Larry's house, that there's going to be pictures and mementos and memories
mhm,
that his mom had hung on to for years
right.
that for whatever reason him and Barb had decided to hang on to,
Hmm.
and now they're both gone. Is it something that Matt's going to want? But I said to Matt, don't make hard decisions like that right now. We'll
Exactly.
sort and pack, and then you will have time then in your own time to go through things on your own and decide what you want to hang
Yeah.
on to, what you want to keep for your kids, and
And see, that's the kind of thing that has waylaid me in the past of sorting and you're doing the tossing and sorting and everything.
Mhm.
I get caught up in the memories, like, oh, I can't let go of this. I can't let go of that, and
Mhm.
and then or he's like, oh, well, that was fun. Then you're tired.
Yeah.
you know, uh,
Yeah.
it's physical exhaustion, it's mental exhaustion,
Mhm.
and emotional exhaustion, and then but the thing is, we kind of, we knew at some point we'd be in this situation, maybe, you know,
Right.
and should have probably been doing this for years, but I guess procrastination is my enemy and my
Well, I
friend.
think we all have procrastination in our lives. Some of us a little bit better than others, and I'm darn good at that. I am so good at procrastination.
Me too. Me
I mean,
too.
why do it today if I can wait till tomorrow or the next day?
Exactly. Yeah. It's just not the deadline. It's not the deadline yet, so I don't have to worry about it.
That's right.
Then I wonder about why I'm stressing out. Oh, I'm stressing out because I only
Mhm.
have 3 hours to get this done.
That's the kind of thing I do. I swear it is.
Yeah.
Oh, heavens. Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting because some of the, I'm sure that some of the items in the house, in what was my in-laws' house, will probably end up staying there with
Mhm.
us. The whoever's in the family wants whatever, they're welcome to whatever, and that's going to be
Mhm.
definitely understood. But I have a feeling that there's going to be some things that it's going to be there, which isn't necessarily going to be bad. It's just like, okay, there's going to be a few items, furniture items and things that we're going to probably want to keep from ours. Where are we going to put them?
Mhm.
Those kinds of challenges. But
Yep. For sure.
because when my dad was in high school, he took wood shop, which was pretty common in that era.
Mhm.
He made several things, a couple of large projects. He made a desk,
Mhm.
a cedar chest,
Hmm.
and my mom had a cedar chest, hope chest is what they called
Mhm.
it at
Yeah.
that time. And so everything, my dad made his desk, and his best friend made a desk also, that at that year. But the wood that my dad chose held up better over the years, and it's still perfectly
Mhm.
fine. The other one, the friends, I don't know what he made his of, but it ended up not working out for very long. I mean, he had it
Mhm.
maybe 10 or 15 years, and then whatever the wood was caused problems, and it just
Mhm.
wasn't any good anymore. But so yeah, that the desk is over at my daughter's,
Mm-hmm.
and they're using it for a computer desk. But I've got two cedar chests. You know, what am I gonna do with those? You know,
Mm-hmm.
have any because there's not a lot of room in those bedrooms. But anyway, I'm sure it'll work out because the one that both of them are special. One was my mom's, the other one
Right.
was made. You know,
Right. So how do you can't choose and only keep
my
one. They're both special.
my niece is not in a. She's. I've given her several pieces of furniture that were mom and dad's,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think she's in a position to necessarily deal with another piece of furniture. Not only that, I don't know if she's in a position to where she's not in a permanent location. She's
Right.
lease situation. It's not a buying a home kind of thing yet. They're kind of
Mm-hmm.
young. I mean, they're late, like 28, 29.
Mm-hmm.
They're still young yet. They're figuring
Mm-hmm.
out how they're gonna do, live life. But anyway, there may come a time where she just has to move and she can't bring some things and she's gonna have to make choices. So
Yeah.
I know she'll keep try to keep mom's stuff and
Mm-hmm.
the other things that are like heirloom or family pieces from her
Yeah, for sure.
but at the same time it's like I told her when I was verifying her address the other day. She's got a birthday coming up. If you've had to move and you know and something you can't bring everything and spell anything out,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. I understand. It's
Right.
things happen. Sometimes you don't have choices in life that
Mm-hmm.
you know. But anyhow, but they were there and they're still in the same place, so that's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Hadn't heard from her in a while. But anyway,
All right. Well, I think I'm gonna start wrapping up. I appreciate everybody who found us this morning for stopping in. I appreciate you so much. Love and hugs to you, Darlene. Hope
yes,
you're feeling better.
yes, and
Thank
everybody
you
else.
for popping in so that Liz and I don't get ourselves sick with worry,
There you go.
fretting about you.
Your ears should have been burning because before we came on, we were talking about you in the chat in Christian Womanhood.
Exactly. All right. I love you all. And Liz, you want to do your ending?
God bless you, your family, and your world until we see each other again. Much love.
Much love, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Oh no, this is my downside. I can't figure out how to turn it off. Yeah,
It's hard
I
because
can.
sometimes it doesn't want to go off.
Yep.
We're still alive.
And we're still live. Hang on.